I better get this done. So here we are. Final Fantasy X and 10-2's rating video. Yes, I'm combining it. Because of course I am. So, plus 12, negative 29 for the story and gameplay respectively. And I know that's going to raise some hackles, but that's also the entire package. I do still think 10-2 is a better game, and I do still think the Spirit Saga is not for me. So, let's just move on. Session count was 6 for Final Fantasy for 10. It was 6 for 10, 3 for 10-2, and I got both Last Mission and that fucking audio drama. We'll get there. In one. It was mercifully done in one session. Not that it didn't give it its best chance to. It didn't give it its best. Give it its best to try and drive me up a wall. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to cover all of the story positives across the entire HD remaster. Then, and we're just going to do it like as is. This is all going to be one big package, so it's all going to be all together. The stream has the final score and all that, so yeah. So, story positives. Let's begin. For FF10 specifically, we had 2 for music direction, 1 for visual storytelling, 2 for due-date usage, 1 for voice acting. For Dwight Schultz's voice acting. I don't care for the voice acting of FF10, but Dwight Schultz is an exception. Macon and Owaka, which is good. The banter was good. There was good use of atmosphere. There is good internal continuity. There's some good gameplay story integration. And I felt the story pacing was actually quite superb and got a triple positive from me. That surprised me, that I felt the pacing was actually that good, you know? Now for characters. Auron, best character in the game, no question. Triple positive, you better believe it. Lulu. In a lot of cases she did rub me the wrong way, but overall I like her. I like Lulu. Yuna, once she gets there, is actually a good character, so there's that. As we enter the kinda not great Peril music here. Isaru was a good character. The voice direction does kind of waste Quentin Flynn's talents, so there's that. But overall, it's fine. Sid was awesome to the tune of triple positive, because Riku was a good character, and then Sid was also awesome. For me, Sid was just so awesome that, no question, he gets triple positive, right? The Blitzball scene right at the beginning, that is the CG cutscene that shows off the Blitzball game, just before Sin attacks. Honestly, it kind of is, despite myself, I find that cutscene awesome. It builds intrigue on what Blitzball even is, and does a great jump. That should be job of establishing Sin in a single scene, and as such, I went ahead and gave it a triple positive. I gave a positive for the friendship between Tidus and Wakka. Oh yeah, notice we're already in the moments, by the way. I gave the friendship between Tidus and Wakka a positive. Despite me not liking either character, their friendship is actually well done. So there's that. The intro, which I chop when you leave Besaid. I actually think it's good from a storytelling perspective. Sets up the thing with Tidus and Anakin, and I feel it's a strong intro to raise intrigue, right? It's just too bad that this is where the story starts hardcore shitting the bed, in my opinion. So, still, 2 positives for it. I like the destruction of Kilika, despite the dated CG. I also like the sending scene, which is just hauntingly beautiful. While it is short, I do like the thing with Tidus trying to teach Yuna to whistle. That was cool. That was a cool little moment. Okay. Alright. All memes, all jokes, all everything aside. The laughing scene is a good demonstration of both Tidus and Yuna's characters. I see what they were going for, and in a weird way, it's endearing. If a bit overlong, and as such, I will give it the same number of positives as I will negatives, to the tune of a triple positive. So, here you go. Then there's the scene where Tidus and Yuna discuss the final summoning, after Tidus tells Yuna to stop worrying so much. It's a nice scene, even if it is ruined by a later twist. We'll get there in the negatives. The scene when Yuna wakes up after Jose Temple is a nice breather scene, and I think it works well. I like the info dump scene where Seymour shows the image of Xanarkand. And again, as I feel it enhances the lore and enriches it, which happens way too infrequently in this game. The far plane is a double positive for the concept. That's it. Even if it isn't my preferred idea of an afterlife, if you can even call it that, it really works. Excuse me. It works as a way to dive into the characters. Tidus, Yuna, and Waka especially. Hence the double positive. I like the exchanges between Tidus and Lulu and Guado Salam, especially if you claim Lulu is more Tidus' type. Hey, they're honestly fairly well handled and lighthearted. This is set to random within the thing, right? Yes. Okay. I should also make sure that I am scrolling through the proper thing. I am good. Alright. Or, visually, right? Anyways, the scene riding on the snowmobile machina with Tidus and Yuna is a great display of how much Sin being jacked is bothering Tidus, and supposedly it is malleable too. I wouldn't know, I've always had Lulu in that scene. It also shows Tidus is what Spirit needs, so double positive there. Tidus' reaction to the big unit twist is good, even if the rest of the scene is trash, but we'll get there. Tidus' confrontation with Sid is awesome at establishing Sid and showing that Tidus has the resolve to find the answer. Yuna's fight with Isaru is a good showcase of his character. I also really like the line, "Your pilgrimage is over." And yes, I will absolutely give positives and negatives for lines of dialogue. So, I also really like the scene where the party decides to go and help Kimari after Seymour transforms. It shows how much the party cares about one another. Then the game didn't get another positive until the romance scene between Tidus and Yuna, which is another one of those it's just as good as it is bad kind of scenes. It is the perfect culmination of the characters, and that's awesome, even if it does come dangerously close to breaking my suspension of disbelief with them being in the water and all. I still think it warrants the triple positive, though. Then I gave a double positive for the Tidus and Yuna romance being one of the better romances in FF. Look, I may not like this story very much, but the romance between Tidus and Yuna is actually well done, I think. It could stand to be better, but it could be a fuck of a lot worse. So, As much as I hate the spiral of Spira being haunted by a sin, the spiral of Spira being haunted by sin, the sphere Yuna recorded that Tidus watches on Mount Gagazet is a great showcase of Yuna's growth and what the party means to her. So, triple positive there. Auron's reaction to the memory of when Jack decided to be the Faith, 8th of the Final Aeon, is perfect. Triple positive there. It shows why he is easily my favorite character. The Yunalesca scene is awesome. Especially with Yuna's declaration that she will defeat sorrow without false hope. Great stuff. 3 positives. Auron's confession that he is an unsent is awesome and really shows the depths of his character and how much he valued his friendship with Jack. So that's another scene worth 3 positives. Auron's farewell is an appropriate end to his character and his arc, in my opinion. And there's, of course, the ending itself. The ending is wonderfully tragic. Despite the fact that Tidus' death is undone in the post-credits scene, it is a wonderful end to the game's events, and that post-credit scene hints at his return perfectly, resulting in the full 3 positives. So, I also gave the outro on the story axis a full 3 positives as well. I think it works on every level and wraps up the story fantastically. So, then here's an HD Remaster exclusive positive, because the Eternal Calm is a fantastic connecting point between 10 and 10-2. So, triple positive for it. Yes, reviewing the HD Remaster as an aggregate was so I could do stuff like this. I'm not apologizing for it. So now we move on to 10-2. 10-2 got a positive for visual storytelling, a positive for dude usage, and actually a positive for voice acting and direction this time. Yeah. Good gameplay story integration, good NPC chatter, good world building, good use of Babylon 5 effect, good external continuity, and the internal continuity is on point. Oh, and there's actually some good Limblom effect on display here. So, there you go. Now we get into the characters. Yuna is way better this time around and is worth a triple positive. No, I don't care who agrees with me. For me, Riku is awesome in 10-2. I know she has cringe moments, but everyone let Tidus and Wakka be 99% cringe in FF10, so fuck off and let me have this. Seriously, Tidus and Wakka literally were 99% cringe. The 1% for Tidus was his romance with Yuna, and Wakka... Honestly, Wakka was okay, Tidus was 90. The 1% for Tidus was his romance with Yuna and his friendship with Wakka. And Wakka was 1% was literally just his friendship with frickin' Tidus, and that was it. Pain is my favorite character in 10-2, no question. That's tough, no nonsense, without the baggage of bitch that Lulu brought, despite her backstory, and honestly, yeah, that's cool. The hype hello throughout the game, I feel, are awesome. Makin is a good character, and Dwight Schultz delivers another great performance as him. Wakka is actually a decent character this time around. Yes, he is Negative's territory in the original 10, but in 10-2, I actually think he's more legit. Now we get into the moments. Alright, look, I don't care what anyone says. I love the what can I do for you scene. I don't care. I love that song. I really like that song. I really like that scene. Piss off. Okay, and then there's the intro, which I chop after the first Mount Gagazet mission. I feel it's a good starting point for building intrigue without slamming you with terms and confusing elements right off the bat. That as a certain future FF, namely FF13, will fail hard at. I will be slamming the frickin' codex when we get there. There, trust me. Besaid is a nice and wholesome visit in Chapter 1 and really shows that Waka can be a good character when he isn't a brainwashed zealot. So, there's that. The behind-the-scenes side mission, I actually thought that was a cool story beat and really cool. I really also like the end of Chapter 1, as it's great youth into the Youth League and graying out New Yevon. Which is actually something I gotta tend to in general for. Both the Youth League and New Yevon are they're not squeaky clean, but they're also not pure evil too, which is a nice touch because Old Yevon was just pure evil. The end. Period. Yuna's speech right before her song in Chapter 4 was awesome and delivers the message of this whole story. Which is funny, because actually that's funny that I went for Shrim 10-2 to this. Coming together because of our differences, that's what Tales of Arise was all about. For the record, I'm recording this on the day I finished streaming that. Yeah. And which will be the next set of videos going live, will be my my stream of Tales of Arise. The 1,000 words sequence is easily the best scene in the whole game. The song is wonderful, it tells the tragedy and gets you invested in the romance between Shuyin and Len in minutes, as opposed to the hours of cringe you have to endure in order to get Tidus and Yuna together in 10, and as I bump shit on my desk. And most of all, the symbolism of the sun shining on the Thunder Plains, despite the fact that the storm there is supposed to, you know, be eternal. Ernal is a nice touch. Excellent scene that easily earns a triple positive. I liked the Chappu sphere. I loved the whole episode on Besaid Island. Some great dive into Waka's character and a wrap up to his arc. The comm sphere engineers in Chapter 4 are awesome and provide good insight into Spira. Lucille's speech during Chapter 5 is kind of awesome, and I like it. The "Your plan sucks" speech. When Yuna tells Yuge that she doesn't like his plan and it sucks. It's fantastic. It is the second best scene in the whole game, and it is even better on a replay playthrough. When you examine Yuna and the rest of the game, it is easily the second best scene in the game and earns the triple positive. I also really like Yuna's entire arc. I think it is amazing and worth a triple positive. I also like the normal ending, and I feel it wraps up the story nicely. And I do like the 100% ending as well. And despite everything, I will admit that this is one of the better story outros in the series. One of the better outros story-wise, and gave it 2 positives. And yes, you can... And by the way, yes, I did give the outro of 10 more positives than the outro of 10 too. Make of that what you will. 118 in story positives altogether. On to the story negatives, starting with Final Fantasy X with FF10. So, being able to name Tidus, it makes the dialogue around it is cringe, and I hate it. Triple negative. I hate the dialogue in 10. It is bad. It would be bad enough if there was no voice acting, but since it is voice acting, the stilted nature of it is put on full display. As to me, this is easily the worst dialogue in the series up to this point, and possibly of the whole series in general. I will be re-examining 13 on that point. The voice acting, in my opinion, is bad. I do not mean this as hyperbole when I say Xenogears had better voice acting in 1998 on the PS1 than this does in 2002 on the PS2. It's like 2001, 2002. Point is, the previous generation, right? And yeah, I know, the first time they ever put voice acting in Final Fantasy, but Square Enix had experience doing voice acting. There's no excuse for it at this point. Every actor here has their talent, in my opinion, every actor has their talents thoroughly wasted, with James Earl Taylor and John DiMaggio especially being thoroughly wasted. As their performance, thanks to the god-awful voice direction, feels like it either falls flat or is so over the top you just cannot take it seriously, right? The Yuna twist being a great example of the latter on that. I know I'm gonna get blasted for this, but I don't fucking care. Triple negative. I also don't like the whole plot point of nobody except Yuna believing Tidus about Zanarkand. They lean on it way too much, in my opinion. It gets a little too obnoxious. A Zanarkand overload, if you will. The character designs are just... what the fuck? So many of them feel over-designed and way too busy, with particular irritants for me being Tidus, Wakka, and Seymour. Especially Seymour. Or whose theme is currently playing. We'll get to him. I really don't like the animations. I get it, engine limitations, but it still feels weird. And honestly, that can apply to the whole package, because 10.2 doesn't have that much better animations either, in my opinion. Alright, the world building. It's always bugged me, as there are several things that raise more questions than they answer, and in my opinion, the world building just generates fuck tons of plot holes, and it sucks. And then you add on to that the fact that there are so many little plot holes that I am constantly pulled out of the scene and end up screaming, "That makes no fucking sense!" So, triple negative for the cavalcade of plot holes. Then there's cutscene incompetence. Ugh, it's all over the place, especially in regards to Seymour. Good God. Ugh. Empty text and fake drama are all over the goddamn place. Even if the fake drama doesn't really start happening until Seymour is revealed to be a villain. Open your mouth and close your ass is rampant this time around. This is where characters should speak up about something, but they don't. And yeah, it was triple negative territory here, just like in FF8. I gave a triple negative for Babylon 5 Effect because this story just is so much worse for me when I know everything. It's so much better on your first run, but then when you start combing through everything else, it's like there are so many plot holes. Holy crap. Now, while there is some good gameplay story integration, the segregation is way worse, as there are several times where the party either does things that they don't need to or shouldn't be able to, you know? So now we get into the characters. Titus actually got downgraded to a double negative instead of a triple. He was going to be a triple, but then again, the more I saw of him, the better it was. The better he was, right? Now, he admittedly is constantly dumb, and, well, yes, it is supposed to be a fish out of water. It's supposed to be because he's a fish out of water. It just goes beyond that, so it just kind of pisses me off. I only gave him 2 because he did start to grow on me after a while. To be fair, I do think Dissidia helped in that regard, so... What was not helped by Dissidia, because he's not even in there, is Waka. Oh, Waka is a character I just can't like. He is blind to the fact that the religion he preaches is a cult, and, well, yes, he does eventually turn around on it. It takes until Unaleska herself reveals it's a sham, and before he opens his fucking eyes, and I hate it. Some people claim that he is self-policing his faith. No, he's not. He is double, triple, and quadrupling down on his fucking zealotry, and I hate it. He's also way too blind to Seymour being evil, but that's more the writing's fault than his, admittedly. So, triple negative. I hate the Luca goers. They are a triple negative, and honestly, the Blitzball subplot can just go to hell. Donna also pissed me off. She was a triple negative for being a condescending cunt. And it didn't need her because her entire contribution is to be an arrogant rival to Yuna. And considering the ultimate goal of the pilgrimage of a summoner, that's just fucking stupid. Triple negative. Then there's Seymour, who is easily the worst villain in the entire game. The only reason he's not the worst villain in the entire series is because Bartandalus exists, but we'll get into him later. Oy. But yeah. Yeah, like, he is transparently evil from his look, his speech, and his general presentation, and I absolutely hate that. Now, some people will disagree with this one, but once I peeled back the layers, oh god, Jack to me is just an abusive father who insults his son at the final moments. Oh, in his final moments. He literally, to Titus, in Jack's final moments, he says to Titus, "Oh, you're gonna cry," and it's like, dude, you're fucking dying. Be honest with yourself for 1 fucking minute. Even Anabran Tane was able to do that, admittedly from some goading from Garrick, but that's beside the point. I would expect that from Tane. Not a character that is actually celebrated, but whatever. So now we get into a giant paragraph of a negative nobody's going to agree with me on. Titus saying, "Listen to my story" at the beginning of the game. You know, when he says right at the end, you know, right at the beginning of the game, the first audible line is, "Listen to my story, because this may be our last chance," right? That line angers me, and it has ever since I first played this game. First, Final Fantasy is well known, and even was well known, and even when this game came out, was well known for telling stories in the games. So demanding that we listen to Titus is more than a little arrogant, since people who played this were expecting a story, you prick. And then there's the problem that FF's first voice line is a demand, making the writers look arrogant. And third, when you think about it, who the hell is he telling this story to? Is his narration verbal? If so, then practically all of this is as you know dialogue. And if it is internal, then Titus is crazy and hearing voices in his head. And this is the worst part for this one. You add one word to that sentence, to the front of that line, and it fixes it completely. Just add "please" in front of that sentence, and my entire complaint dies in a fire. That's not even a joke. You literally put please at the front of that and now it's a request. He is you can read it as he is begging you, listen to my story. I need you to listen to my story. You could even add it at the end. Or hell, have the entire line be, listen to my story. Hurry, because this may be our last chance. So please, I need you to listen to my story. You know? Three ways they could have fixed it, and they chose none of them. I also don't like Tidus' narration, for the record. And I hate all of his flashbacks. Typical daddy issues. It can go away. So our first negative is a story beat negative, is a triple negative for the Blitzball tournament. I really don't like that entire sequence. It feels dumb. The laughing scene, as I said, just as many positives as negatives, and so it got a triple negative. Negative, you know. I feel like the pacing and the direction of the scene is awful, and as both me and the lore runner are fond of saying, deliberately annoying is still fucking annoying. So, yeah. Then there's Yuna's decision to marry Seymour when all she has to do is talk to him. You know? Ugh, but whatever. Triple negative for that bullshit plot point. Then there's the scene where this party decides to go to Bevelle after the encounter with Seymour. Or, as it basically in character assassinates two party members in Waka and Orin, and even does so to the latter twice. It's like, seriously, what the hell? Hell, Orin. So, then there's the Yuna twist revealed in the Albed home. It is the worst scene in the entire game for me. The whole problem with it is that it should have been said way earlier and not as an 11th hour twist. Never mind the fact that the scene is badly directed and badly voice directed to the point of taking me out of the moment. Yeah, this fake drama bullshit was a triple negative. Oh, fuck. Okay. So this next triple negative is for Waka's line, boom, like Happy Festival fireworks. That is the absolute worst fucking line in the series. No question. It's insensitive, it's badly timed, and was single-handedly responsible for making it so that I will never be able to like Waka. Ever. He got his positives for 10-2, but I will not like him as a character. He is a good character in 10-2, and I will be fair and give the props, but no, I will not look at Waka fondly. 10-2 does not salvage him in IMO, because especially when he pulls stupid during a subplot there too. Which he does, but it's, So, yeah, no. 3 negatives there. Then there's the whole wedding section, which is just dumb antics and cutscene incompetence, so that's a triple negative. The romance scene between Tidus and Yuna comes dangerously close to breaking my suspension of disbelief, so that was a that was another triple positive, triple negative territory thing. I also hate the twist that Tidus is a dream of the faith. I've always hated that twist. I hate that twist. Fuck that twist. Pissed. It felt like they just wanted a twist that nobody could predict. Well, congratulations, he succeeded, because who the flying fuck is going to guess something so fucking nonsensical? Triple negative. And that was the last negative I gave 10 proper. No other scene past that was negative territory. So now let's get into 10-2. And we jump right into the characters with LeBlanc being the word. Actually, yeah, okay, no, I forgot about LeBlanc. Yeah. Okay. LeBlanc is the worst villain in the series. Seymour would be second worst villain in the series, if not for... if Bartandelus didn't exist. And even then, that's debatable, but I digress. Yes, I feel LeBlanc is arrogant, full of herself, and she earns none of it. Oh, and she's also a goddamn simp for Nooch on top of that. Wow, I got really angry and literally said, fuck this whore with a rusty cheese grater. Ouch. Yeah, triple negative. Then there's Shinra, the character. Yeah, Shinra annoys me with his antics more than Brother does, as by being a simp for Yuna. I felt Brother was just kind of goofy in there. Shinra is just fucking arrogant and a twat, so fuck him. Also, I feel Brother actually has a little bit of depth. Yep. Brother has the depth of a pothole puddle. Shinra has the depth of an evaporating puddle. So there you go. That's it for characters, just the two. Now we get into moments. What the actual fuck is with the awful animation during the brief scene in Zanarkand when YRP overhear the other clue? Who? God, the face on Riku's face when she comes to the monkey conclusion is just, what the fuck? Also, why the fuck do we have to give LeBlanc a massage? Negative there. I also give a negative to the whole Dark Aeon subplot, as I feel it is pointless and a waste of time. It frankly causes way too many problems with the world building. Then I also gave 10-2 a negative for the contrivances surrounding LeBlanc, as they are annoying and they frankly make no sense, right? I also feel like the cotton candy and the tone just got to be a bit much after a while, so negative there. Then we get into Last Mission. Yes, the only story beats from Last Mission were all negatives, and most of them triple negatives at that. Holy fuck. In fact, actually all of the story beats from Last Mission are actually triple negatives. Good lord. Ugh, I hate the banter during Last Mission's cutscenes. Like, just, ugh. It comes across as mean-spirited rather than heartwarming. Perfect example of this is Riku claiming Yuna is wasting her time on Besaid because she isn't gallivanting all over Spira like she is. Like, God, I had to keep... I literally YouTubed the cutscenes because I was so sick of Last Mission's gameplay. I literally had to keep pausing and just... I literally had to just keep pausing because I full screened it. I had to keep pausing and I just had to keep showing my camera and just being like, oh my god, on two fronts. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Let's continue, shall we? Run thing. Okay. So, yeah. It was so bad it made me have to rush to the washroom. God. Yeah, I just... I was so angry I kept face palming and I just couldn't take it. It took me forever to get through these cutscenes. And there's not very many of them, and it's just so stupid. Then there was Yuna asking if Payne's book that she's writing is necessary, which was the single stupidest line Yuna has ever said. And yes, I am actually going to go ahead and include the fucking leaving Tidus for some random dumbass. That's in Will. Oh, while we're on the subject. Last mission has fake drama galore, and I also gave it a triple negative for the character assassination of YRP. Because, wow, what the actual fuck? Real talk, I was expecting the like 12 negatives I'm about to talk about, like the 14 negatives I'm about to talk about when it comes to the audio drama, but I was not expecting Last Mission to fucking be that bad. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 4. That is 12 negatives that I gave on the story axis from Last Mission alone. That's disgusting, you know? You know, just imagine if Last Mission and the audio drama didn't exist. Man, there would be so much. It'd be so much better, you know. Anyways, let's get into the audio drama. So, the audio drama is absolutely the worst thing that FF10 has ever produced, which is hilarious because the audio drama is actually made even worse by the light novel that actually came out. I forget the name of it, but it's like Iron something, and that one actually makes it so that Tidus got blown up by a random bomb before the audio drama. Wait, what? So he's an unsent, is what you're saying? Ugh, whatever. But I still fucking hate it. It ignores the lore of the setting as Sin returns without Yu Yevon, who, by the way, if you paid attention during FF10 in proper, Yu Yevon is the reason Sin keeps coming back. No Yu Yevon, no reason for Sin to keep coming back. Doi. Also, there was no final Aeon, which means Sin shouldn't have come back. Ugh. You know, even if you had paid the slightest bit of attention, it was Yu Yevon that was forcing the Faith to continuously summon Sin. So, yeah, that's stupid. And it is because it breaks the lore so much, it's a triple negative on its own. Then there's Tidus and Yuna breaking up in the audio drama, which is just insulting to even me, who doesn't like them as a couple that much. It just fucks over the relationship and the whole reason 10-2 even existed. So that's another triple negative. Chuami is not a good character in my opinion, and she comes across as an egotistical bitch. It just doesn't give a fuck. Look, so, you know, I get her having a chip on her shoulder, but she just comes across as an egotistical bitch. And then Kurgum comes across as a craven idiot, and that just bugs the everlasting shit out of me, so there's that. Then there's the character assassination on Yuna, and I hate it. Triple negative there. And a triple negative for Tidus' character assassination. What the actual fuck? So, yep, triple negatives all over the place there. 106 story negatives. Let's move on to the gameplay now. Starting, of course, with F10. In Otherworld, best song in the game. Hands down. No question. Not only in the final Aeon boss fight, but at the beginning when Sin attacks. So, triple positive. I enjoyed the combat HUD and the combat interface. Overdrive is a good system, even if I don't personally like it. That's more of my disdain for the characters talking than anything anything for it to do as a mechanic. So there you go. I actually like save points for storing HP and MP after leveling, which makes, save points for storing HP and MP, making leveling less of a chore. There's good autosaves on the PC, not on the console, which is very fucking stupid. And there's good built-in cheats on the PC, which is also, I forgot to mention, yes, we did eventually start using cheats, but it was after the console version just kept being more and more of a slog. So, there's that. The tutorials, the TENS tutorials, are actually, for the most part, informative, even if they are a little too in your face about them in the intro. So, yeah. And I do also like the tutorial console sprinkled throughout if you need to review any of it. The Expert Zero Grid is everything the standard one should have been, but isn't. Because there's way less of, here's 5 nodes in a row that are all blank. Ugh. It's not good. It's not perfect, but it's still better than it was. Alright, so the summon mechanic is not my cup of tea, but it does have some interesting benefits, and it is unique and interesting, if nothing else. So I ended up giving 2 positives there. Then once you unlock the ability to customize the Aeons, that's pretty cool. So there's that, and I feel like I'm about to sneeze here. No? False alarm? Okay. 2 positives to the combat animations. I love the camera shifting on to indicate the final hit. That's cool. There's good. I like the summon animations. This surprised me. There is excellent boss design in this game. Holy crap. The boss design in this game is through the roof. I love it. Great boss design. Also, good difficulty curve. Surprisingly good, so triple positive there. And the core combat has definitely grown on me. Holy crap. This combat is actually kind of awesome. Good gameplay story integration. I like customizing equipment, even if it is a bit grindy. Indeed, there's good quality of life on display for navigating menus and such. There's some good enemy AI. There's some good enemy variety. 2 positives to that. Some good optimization, loot, and inventory design. There's a good flow to the exploration when it's there. There's some decent info in game. There's good viscerality when you grind to that point, or use the PC version as cheats, whichever. I swear learning the eject shot minigame is less finicky in the HD version, as I never got it on the boat to Luca, and did this time on the first try. And the second, because I had to do it on the PC as well. I did it on the Xbox, and I did it on the PC. And both worked well. Oh, and in case you're wondering if it was my controller, I used 2 different controllers. Spheromorph was actually an interesting fight, and unlike other barrier bosses, this one actually has a tell of what it's weak to at any given moment. You just gotta know what the tell is, which is kind of iffy, but whatever. I like fighting the crawler. That's the one with the anti-magic thing, so that's cool. From memory, it's the best boss fight, and there were a few others that challenged it, so there's that. So, despite my grievances with the multi-spells and his tendency to get multiple turns, I like the fight with Seymour, or Makalani Temple. I find it to be a fun and engaging fight in all 3 rounds, so triple positive there. Also, Shiva is one hell of a Hyper Beam moment. I also like Hervé and think he's an excellent fight. Right? Even if I don't count it as the best, as the best overall boss fight, the Aeon boss fights, the Aeon exclusive boss fights, yeah, no question, Isaru is the best one. He requires strategy, he is intense, and it's just freaking fun. So triple positive there. I liked the second round against Seymour. I like the battle against Biron and Yankee, as it really is a cool battle that actually rewards you for not training Kimari. So that's cool. Cool. Now, to be fair, the final Cloister of Trials is as annoying as the others, but was also kind of neat as well. Then there's Unalesca, who is really fun fight that really needs you to either know what you're doing or have been sufficiently leveled to beat her, so that's a triple positive. Then I gave Dark Velafor her a positive because he was actually fun. Jekt is a legit boss fight, so that was a triple positive there, and that was the last time the game got gameplay. FF10 and got gameplay positives. Moving on to 10-2 now. 10-2 score combat. It got a triple positive. I love learning abilities mid-combat and being able to use them mid-combat. That's a triple positive there. The dress spheres were a positive. The combat animations were a triple positive. Like with FF5, there are no useless jobs, so that's cool. Save points restoring HP and MP like in 10, so that's cool. The PC autosaves and built-in cheats, gameplay story integration. I actually enjoy leveling in 10-2. There's good HUD, there's good itemization and loot, there's good power progression curve, difficulty curve, enemy design, and the enemy variety is worth 2 positives. So there's that. Where's my cursor? There it is. I felt the gameplay pacing was worth 2 positives. I felt the quality of life features were good. There was some good visual distinction in 10-2, not 10. There's some good tutorialization, and I gave positives for different jobs, such as Gunner, Gun Mage, Warrior, Dark Knight, and Dark Knight. So, yeah. I like the first mission as a way to ease you into the gameplay. I like the intro from a gameplay perspective. Again, that's the first Mount Gazette mission. I honestly kind of liked the Guard of the Hypello side mission. That was kind of fun. The final mission in Chapter 1 is fun and full of interesting divergence from combat. And I will go ahead and I will admit it. I like the Gauntlet of Youth League fights in Chapter 5. So there's that. Then there's New Game Plus and Viscerality. And while I have no desire to play this game again, there is replay value via New Game Plus and the variations of the Dress Spheres combos. So this is the first example of a game where there is replayability, even if I myself would not replay it. And last mission actually managed to give us 3 more gameplay positives. Not enough to pull it out of the negative 29 for the gameplay score. But the autosaves are a godsend. And in last mission, the max guild sheet is more useful than you would think on the PC version. And despite my issues with the interface controls, there is some fun core combat there. So there you go. 106 gameplay positives. Alright, we're almost done. We're almost there. So, now for the gameplay negatives. Unskippable cutscenes in the HD remaster is inexcusable. Kingdom Hearts 1 proved this. not pulling my punches on 10. On 10. I hate the standard sphere grid. It gets a triple negative. I hate the Cloister of Trials. They are obnoxious. Obnoxious and slow-paced. Triple negative. I am also giving particular ones, like the Bavel one. I also give the Bavel one in particular a triple negative, because that one is just, oh my god. God. Oof. I gave 2 negatives for walkthrough-itis. Everything to do with Blitzball, specifically with the missable items and everything to do with Blitzball. You know, and considering it's a continual problem with the missable items and Blitzball mid-maxing, yeah, it was 2 negatives. I felt bosses have way too much HP to the tune of 2 negatives, and I felt Trash had a triple negative HP problem, as I felt like Trash encounters just took way too long to beat. There are times where the game forces you to have a specific party, and I really fucking hate that. Triple negative. See Cold Steel 1 for a much better example of doing this right. Then there's the intro, which you chop off when you leave Besaid, which is just awful from a gameplay perspective. That got 2 negatives out of me, because it was just oof. Handling tutorials and the pacing is just jerky at best. I also don't think the tutorialization itself is that well done. The tutorials are fine, but the way the game tutorializes itself, not so much. The Blitzball tutorial is absolute trash, and it is 2 negatives. I hate the mandatory Blitzball match against the Goers. Hate that thing, because unless you do it a specific way, you're not going to win against them. Ugh. And then this one might get me in trouble with lore. I hate managing Blitzball. It's a prime example of why the fuck would you bother? As if you don't know what you're doing or who to recruit and when, you will never get anywhere in the optional season. And with Blitzball being so awful to play, it makes it feel completely unrewarding. So, yeah, no, the management side of Blitzball was a triple negative. And then there's Blitzball in general, which is the worst minigame in the whole series for me. If you know what you're doing, or have the RNG fuck you in the ass. It is also boring as fuck, and when you are playing it, and worst of all, it's fucking forced on you for at least once. If it wasn't forced on you, I probably would just give it a single negative, but it's forced on you, and it's that bad. Triple negative. I know some people like Blitzball, and I will never understand why, because I'm not a fan of guzzling paint thinner, thank you. Yeah, this is the worst minigame in the series for me. Whole series. Worse than Tetramaster, worse than Sphere Break, worse than all of that. Why the hell is it game over when the lead party falls? No, seriously, someone answer me that, because that is just bullshit. It's not the worst implementation of this shit. It is the second worst, though, so 2 negatives there. Accuracy and evasion issues. Try to be shocked by that. Well, grind is not required if you know what you're doing. Well, you need to know what you're doing. I prefer my games to A, not require me to master in the first 10 hours of a JRPG, and B, and not make leveling a slog. The AP gain is also way too low for what the game gives you, and that's with the improved grid, so triple negative there. Then there's way too many trash encounters that endure hitting with status effects, sleep especially. I hate the gameplay pacing. It is a triple negative. Way too stop and go, constantly forced to be a slog if the trash mobs are feeling particularly assholic. Like they were my entire run. And it feels like the flow is forced to stop dead way too often for no real reason. So triple negative. I also hate the encounter rate to the tune of two positives or two negatives. Wow, two negatives for the encounter rate. I feel like the save point placement is all over the place. Most of the time it's fine, but other times you lose way too much progress if you screw up. Then there's the power progression curve, which is way too much of a drip feed for me to like it. This honestly feels like the slowest rate of advancement in the series, and I am including 13 in that, by the way. It feels like I'm constantly underpowered to a ludicrous degree, and while you may feel that should mean the difficulty curve suffers too, it doesn't, as there are ways around the enemies, meaning only the power progression curve suffers. So it's only the power progression curve earning a triple negative. Then there's railroading. Railroading everywhere. Accidentally went into the next story area, but you saw a chest at the last second? Sucks to be you. I find mix is useful if you have a guide. I hated Sin Spawn Gui. He can kiss my ass and get 2 negatives. I hate the Thunder Plains. They are a triple negative. Yeesh. The sequence in the album at home is just plagued by audio spam. Ugh. Hey, look, interrupting the alert as in. No, that should be interpreting. Interpreting the alert as saying an annoying cunt is only funny for so long before it gets headache inducing. So, yeah. The monster area quest to fight Nemesis. Do I even need to explain why this is bad? Boring, tedious, and exists solely to facilitate a fight with a boring as hell super optional that has 10 million HP. Yeah, triple negative there. Also, triple negative for Nemesis himself. 10 million HP. Optional. He's a lawn sluggy, super optional, easy to screw up, super optional with 10 million HP. Like, enough said, really. Chocobo training, aka proper controls? Why would I do that? Fun is not the name of the game. Yeah, I hate Chocobo training, triple negative there. Navigating the airship. Oof, the coordinates thing is annoying and requires a guide. I read for the side content, and that is just bad. Speaking of that, the post-game specific grind is a triple negative. Then there's the Dark Aeons cheating by having multiple turns in a row and being overpowered as hell. So they're a triple negative. Then there's Dark Ixion, which is just, oh my god. There are times where he ignored auto life, by the way. Also, fuck having to chase him after round 1. Then, thank God it allows you to save, otherwise, yeesh. Then there's the escape after defeating Dark Shiva, which is just so stupid and a waste of time. Then there's a triple negative for the final dungeon, as it's nausea-inducing, the encounter rate is through the damn roof, and the spikes in the penultimate area with the nausea ignore Inknun. So, yeah, triple negative. I hate you, Yevon, as a final boss. As for one simple reason, he is insultingly easy. There are so many ways to take him down in seconds that it's ridiculous. And even fighting him normally, you might not actually have that much of a problem with him. So. I also hate this outro in gameplay. It's overlong, has way too many game-ending fuck yous, and is not satisfying. And no, Jack does not save it, even from the triple negative. So, there you go. Then we move on to 10-2. Some cutscenes you skip, others you can't. Wait, what the fuck? Then there's walkthrough-itis, which is rampant in 10-2. Triple negative there. Triple negative for the status effect fetish. There were some audio spam issues. The mini-games in the calm lands are at best time wasters, but not good ones. And it feels a little like very little thought or effort was put into them. So that sucks. All of the LeBlanc shit in Chapter 2 can just fuck right off. Especially when in her chateau, Logos is a walking status effect fetish. So, yeah, I hate that whole section. Also, you can skip content, the hot spring scene being a prime example of that. I also don't like chasing Tobley in Chapter 4. That's boring as hell for me. Blitzball, if you can believe it, is even worse than in 10. The only reason there's only going to be one triple negative is twofold. First, the management side is merged with the basic gameplay. Or, to be more accurate, the management side is the only side of the gameplay this time around. And second, and way more importantly, every source I've found says it is not required for 100%, meaning that this is the only triple negative it's getting. So, triple negative there. Then there's the 10 Gatekeeper side quest, which is with the Cactuars. I hate that thing. Ugh. Walkthrough-itis. You have to traverse the whole world, and you have to play a stupid timing minigame to finally get them to cooperate. So, 2 negatives there. And we'll just give a negative for most of the side quests not being very good. Also, for overall minigames, this is the worst collection of them. Doesn't contain the absolute worst. That is still 10. That is still Blitzball, but this is the worst collection of minigames in the series. And while some would argue 9 deserves that distinction more, I massively disagree. Gunner Gauntlet is bullshit incarnate. Blitzball is boring as fuck. That fucking Cactuar minigame. The rehearsal for the concert are both finicky messes. And see the triple negative below for a rant on Sphere Break. All this to say is that the minigames in general deserve a triple negative. Next triple negative is for Sphere Break. Good fucking lord, Sphere Break. Alright, first problem. You have to dig in the desert to get the coins needed to even play the damn thing. And if you don't play during Chapter 3. Second, it's frustrating and confusing to play a la Tetramaster in 9. Third, you can miss the tournament in Chapter 3, and winning it is required for 100%. And finally, if you want the Lady Luck Dress Sphere, you have to beat Shinra to get it. So yeah, triple negative. The skippable content from the comm spheres was irritating. Via Infinito, a 100-floor dungeon that ignores in-game ink nuns, except the cheat one, and is required for 100%. So yeah, the infamous evil dungeon of fuck you gets 2 negatives. Ozzy Dahaka can fuck right off with its high HP and constant healing. I seriously fucking hate that fight. Then there's that fucking musical platform puzzle in the final dungeon. Oh, I hate that dungeon. I hate that puzzle. Ugh, fuck that puzzle. I also think the entire final dungeon of 10-2 can just fuck right off and receive a triple negative. I also hate the frickin' outro. All of it is just really bad from a gameplay perspective. Then there's Last Mission, which added an additional 5 negatives. Yeesh. I hate pitfall traps in Last Mission. I want to go up game, not down. The interface is just bad. Head, triple negative. Dress Sphere's breaking sucks ass. So that's a triple negative. The info in game, or the severe lack thereof, and the random soft locks, which can all go to hell. 135 negatives on the gameplay, resulting in negative 29. I am not a fan of Final Fantasy X, and of the Spira Saga. The Spira Saga is not good, in my opinion. I think it sucks. And that's all I have to say about it. So, that's it. I wish I had more to say, but I don't. That's where I stand. This is where I fall. Until we meet again, this is Blue Wolf Alex of Lorewalkers signing out. Have a good one. And my apologies that I didn't think higher of the Spira arc. Later.